It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Hey neighbor. I'm just here changing my socks instead of my shoes like Mr. Rogers, and I thought I would say, good morning, I'm in bed, and I thought we should read some books in bed, because that's always a really great thing to do. Wake up and change your socks and read a book. So, here we go. Today on The Taxidermy Witch. Welcome, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch. We will be reading a lovely children's story, but I'm not so convinced it's great for children. However, this was a book written in the 70s, and it's fun for a couple of reasons. So, the book we're reading today is The Schizophrenic Waif, and it's the illustrations are what draw me to this book, and that is because my eyes water in the morning. That is because of the illustrations. And when I was a little girl, this same illustrator, Stan Washburn, made this Rumpelstiltskin book that I read over and over as a kid. And if any of you have that book or are able to find it, please, I would love to buy it from you. So, Stan Washburn's Rumpelstiltskin. Anyway, I came across this book and saw it in a thrift store, and I knew that it was Stan Washburn because there's no other illustrator like this, okay? And I had read that book so many times that I just knew, you know? And it's not like a popular, you could see Disney or Pixar and tell it's theirs. This is completely different. So it's kind of amazing what our minds remember from childhood. Alright, so there's the front of the book, The Schizophrenic Waif. And it's got, looks like a dead cow in a field. Just a skeleton. I like to take covers off, and but inside the cover I do want to share with you what this says. It says, The Schizophrenic Waif, a tale of a small girl, Gremlina, whose faith overcomes her physiological disendowments, acute schizophrenia, and rewards her with the affection of the entire Russian people. The tale is told by Alexander Theroux, author of 3 Wogs, and illustrated by Stan Washburn, author and illustrator of George's Dragon. I also want that book, George's Dragon, if anybody has it and wants to pass it along. And get a little tissue for my watery eyes. Does anybody else get watery eyes in the morning? Usually it's when I do my makeup and they start to water. Okay, so hopefully that goes away. Alright, let's start reading. What's the back page say? The Great Weedle Tragedy. There's another book, also published by Godine and by Alexander Theroux and illustrated by Stan Washburn. The Great Wieldy Tragedy. So if anybody's got that, I would love to buy it from you. In this compilation piece to The Schizophrenic Waif, so it's a second book, or, you know, one of many, Alexander Theroux tells this tale of a small girl, Anemia, who is driven to an ultimately death by the machinations and intrigues so characteristic of German circuses. Oh my god, I have to have that book! A book about German circuses by this author? I must have that. I mean, it seems like it would be obvious, but it's, oh boy. Why have I not known about that before now? So yeah, small girl intrigues and characteristics of the German circuses. Like The Schizophrenic Waif, this book is extravagantly illustrated by Stan Washburn. And that's an understatement, even. Extravagantly illustrated. If you look close, everything looks to be done in just like small pencil lead lines. Okay, so now that we're 4 minutes in, we'll read the book. What to do? Alright, The Schizophrenic Waif. And it's copyright 1975. And the first page says, outside it was 1554. There's a lot going on there. It's a very sad picture. A waif named Gremlina, who wouldn't even smush an ant, desperately walked over the blue snows of medieval Russia on her little printless feet, seeking justice. She had a head shaped exactly like an onion. And this gentleman is wearing a mink because they're in cold, wintry Russia. Cheated by nature, Gremlina further stuffed the anomalous problem of being both fat and thin-skinned. Oh, what a swift, what an awful circuit. So she ran away, of course, away from all the teasing. Oh, lost! She cried at the grave of her parents in the potter's field and wrung her arms. Should she hurt herself into the riverbed and simply have done? Instead, unloved Gremlina nightly flung herself with knotted hands at the top stoop of steepless monastery of Our Lady of Sapso Yephimrev and humbly wailed, "Exler, Exler, meaning!" I don't know what that means. So here's that picture. No one could say orphans are riddles. I actually really like this picture. But the ears of God were surely filled with sobs. Yeah, they were. And I'm actually looking at this picture and I'm sad for the energies that the tree is absorbing from the death, you know? Like, I never even thought about that. Someone being, like, from a tree, that's really sad for the tree. Okay, even her little sister Zizzy, born Euproxia, was gone, having injustly one cruel frost poisoned herself by eating Sepphoris matches she found in the way. So she tried to poison herself by eating matches. Meanwhile, the mighty Caesar, or Tsar, isn't that how you pronounce it? C-Z-A-R, the Tsar. Caesar, Ivan the Terrible, had sent a decree far and wee in realm that all architects instantly come to the Kremlin and show him their new designs for the steeples of Russia. They trembled. "I am sore afraid," said one. to be done?" screeched the Tsar. It was the age-old Russian question. Look at the Tsar riding his, like, giant, who knows, animal rhinoceros that they stripped from Africa. This book is kind of all over the place. Hence the title. The Tsar was around the loop with anger, kicked cushions, and gulped villainous cups of coffee, for none of the architects could answer. Heads rolled. Some were mercifully eradicated by official fire. Holy potatoes, look at this picture. It's on a plate. Yeah, heads did roll. Right onto the dinner plate. Look at that one. Ah. That one's on a stick. Like my girl. Where's my girl? Oh, you guys have to see this. This is so cool. In the middle of a book. I know. I'll show you when we're done reading the book. Okay. I can't forget. I'll put it there. Okay. So again, I just love, love, love this illustration. So cool. Everybody in court had the sullions. Even the jester, Grok, the sequesterer coward, having failed to assume the Tsar with his musical swinette, fulsome bed shakes, and whip tops. So this is the jester. I don't know if you still watch my stuff, Violet, but Violet, Timms loves jesters. I think her favorite are the Italian jesters. Is that right, Violet? Sending love to you, Violet. I haven't heard from you in a while. On the dry as dust functionary presented his plan, with a church steeple shaped like a mitten. The question now was, would it wash? Twaddle! African rain, lesions, howled the Tsar, and flung out of the throne room, greatly disappointed, unhinged, some said. Gonocytic, said others, and some absolutely bats. You guys, this book is like all over the place, but the illustrations. I'm not following the story. Is anybody else? I'm trying really hard. But again, these illustrations are really, really beautiful. Okay. Time passed. By day, Gremlina cruised past the quays and wistful watched the orange of birds' wings. That's a vulture, ain't it? Has anybody else ever heard the word vulture culture? Or is that a word my friend made up? I'm just wondering if anybody's heard it. At night, oh god, this picture is chilling. At night, she wondered and with a lump in her throat, searched the gutters of this exitless world for umbles, lollies, and discarded suckets, too afraid to sleep, which caused bad dreams, innumerable. I wonder why you have such bad dreams when this is your view from your bedroom window. It's fucked. It's fucked. No? I'm actually probably going to put this picture on my wall. I don't know. I don't want to cut up the book, but I might trace it or something. I have a lovely tracing lamp. It's so cool. Okay, so Nightmare's Bride. of nixies, monopods, dangerous wishnicks, yelpies, actruids, on-centaurs, craxen, the witchlets. I think I saw witches in there. No, it's the twitchets, snools, pea and thimble men, and caused boars from the Ural's horn, tusked, hooved, bristled, and befanged. This looks like a picture I would put together with, like, decoupage. Lovely picture. Next piece of taxidermy I really want is a boar. I mean, for a long time. And a goat. I really want a goat as well. Or the forest giants who roamed the ice-bound mountains. Ooh, a forest giant. And then this one looks more humanoid than our American, like, Bigfoot. But her worst dream wasn't one. It was real. It was her head, which was just shaped exactly like an onion. Oh, darling. That's just ego and mean people, hon. You find the spirituality within and you'll be okay. Oh, and remember in the 1500s, if there were mirrors, right, she probably didn't have one because she seems like she does not have money. And I believe to have a mirror, in the early days of mirrors, you probably had to have a lot of money. Once a gentleman, cackling his loose wobbly dentures, set his cap at Gremlina in a dark alley, rubbed his hands, and, approaching her, licorously whispered, "Oh, Nymphadora, my love." Okay, well, we know what a nymph is, and the fact that this big person is calling the little person Nymphadora makes me sad and makes me worried, because I believe is a nymph, and I've not got a book. I think this is just what my mind remembers. Okay, I have to look it up. But I believe a nymph is somebody who's addicted to sex, like a young fairy type thing that's addicted to sex. But again, we'll have to look this up, and if one of you could look it up and put in the description below, all my love to ya. So yeah, once a gentleman, clacking his loose wobbly dentures, set his cap at Gremlina in a dark alley, rubbed his hands, and approaching her, whispered, "Oh, Nymphadora, my love." That's fucking gross and creepy and such a pedophile in the woods story. It should say the pedophile, the forest monster pedo. It brought a blush of shame to the cheek of modesty until he spotted her head and, recoiling, cursed his fate in no uncertain terms. What did he do? What did he do? What did he do? The one rare, i.e. sunny day, the unhappy Cesar rumbled forth past the crowd in a carriage drawn by prancing crousers, implumbed, and suddenly noticed a strange shadow cast against the snow. It was the lengthened shadow of Gremlina's head. "Halt!" he cried in Russian. "Halt!" People were, oh, halt, he cried, halt. People wore a goggle. Through the carriage doors, a regal finger was pointing directly at little gnarled Gremlina. And on the ring there's a skull, like a bird's skull. Immediately, mustached guards in huge shakos lifted her aboard and swept her off at gallop to the chambers of the Kremlin, where she proudly sat, fresh as an apple, white, while the royal architects, those who remained, because they were all gotten rid of, remember that in history, scratched away at their drawing boards, the night sky, and repeating, Litera dosia spiritus vivicafta. Sounds witchy to me. So everyone was drawing her as a subject. The steeples over all Russia from that day to this, modeled on Gremlina's head, were henceforth shaped just exactly like onions. So there is the story, or whatever, but behind the shape of these Russian temple heads, that they are after Gremlina. So what a cute little interesting story. Oh, wait, there's one last page. I almost lost it. Gremlina, now famous and loved by all, ate buttered rock buns, owned swans. Told you I'm always talking about swans. And how in the UK, the royals are the only people to eat them, touch them, do anything. And it's a bird just like chicken. I hear it tastes amazing. At some point in my life, I will get the chance to taste that as my guess. But who knows? Rare things to try are really something. But, just make sure you're getting it from a good, happy source. Not that I take back the happy word. A good source. Okay, so Gremlina, now famous and loved by all, ate buttered rock buns and owned swans, and even went for walks on the button garden of the Tsar, who sometimes held her hand. One afternoon, she was created a duchess. So, if anybody can leave in comments what that means, if one afternoon she became a duchess, does that mean he married her? Or he adopted her? I think it means he adopted her, because if he's king, isn't the duchess the king's... I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. So that's her. Inspiring. Oh, so now I get to show you. Remember when we were talking in this scene, or this page of the book, about heads rolling? Remember all the heads rolling, and I said, oh, look, this one he's got on something like this. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So this had a big skull on the top of it, and then it fell over and the skull broke off. It was a metal skull. And it just, so I'm like, okay, well the skull's fine, but what do I do with this? And I'm like, ooh, I'll make something out of clay and I'll mold it to the top and it will be on a pedestal. Okay, so that was my first idea, because I just have a hard time throwing things away that, like, if it's garbage, fine, but like, the skull, it broke perfectly off, so it's its own thing, and I was like, how do I use this? So then I remembered that I had my girl, and I was like, okay, it fits perfect, cool, right? But then I was like, oh, so basically, if you've got this on a really flat spot, and it's not on a flat spot, she'll roll around, and then you can kind of use it for divination, like, if her eyes, I can see them at all when she lands, because sometimes she'll be looking this way or that way. If I can see her eyes at all, it's a yes, and if I can see them not at all, it's a no. And I've been using this for just some simple divination. So let me put it on the flat surface so you can see that it actually does do pretty well. You ready, babe? Ready? So, sweetheart, if the answer to my question is a yes, I'll be able to see your eyes. If it's a no, I won't be able to see your eyes. Okay, darling? Are my YouTube videos, is this YouTube video, is everybody going to enjoy it? Spins for a while when she's on a flat surface. Up, and I can see her eye, so we're good. It looks like you guys are going to enjoy this video. Thank you, darling. And thank you guys for joining us while we read through The Schizophrenic Waif. Say bye, sweetheart. Bye, everybody. See you soon. Make sure to check out this book, and if you guys have anything by Stan Washburn, please let me know. I would love to have that book. We'll see you later. Bye, y'all.